Hello everybody, welcome to the Adam Clery football channel. You're right, I should have ironed this. And Jeremie Frimpong is the man that Liverpool have chosen to replace Trent Alexander-Arnold. And just to set my stall out early here, as far as like-for-like replacements go, that is like losing your super modern all-purpose luxury Range Rover and deciding to replace it on your weekly commute with a Jaguar. But not a Jaguar as in like Jaguar the car, like a Jaguar as in like the enormous, aggressive cat with like a saddle on the back or something. So it can be like for like, but only if you're incredibly brave and a bit fucking mad. Right then, if you are coming in colder than Trent Alexander-Arnold's goodbye hugs, who is he? Well, he's Dutch, he plays anywhere down the right-hand side of the pitch, was previously at Celtic, weirdly, and is 24 years old. We're going to do this all summer. He's also been an absolutely vital tactical cog in Xavi Alonso's extremely high banter Bayer Leverkusen side and plays as the right wing-back who not only gives them the required width to keep these two, including Florian Wirtz, who we'll definitely be doing a video on pretty soon, keep them both central, but also makes direct runs from outside into the box. Now, just to be blunt, this is his seasonal heat map for the season we've just had, and is this the graph of your new right back? And no, obviously it's not. This is the graph of a man who wants to do naught but hurt the opposition, but has simply been told that the best way for him to do that is to start deeper, so that he always gets like a running go at whichever poor sods had to donate his body to try and mark him. And thus, and you are going to enjoy this, trust me, when you look at him statistically, how you view him will change radically depending on whether or not you feel he's more of a defender or an attacker. We're going to have some massive fun with FBref here because comparative to all the other fullbacks in Europe, there is nobody, just take this in, doing it like Frimpong. Now, these numbers are for the last season when compared to all the defenders in the top 5 leagues in Europe, right? And when you look at him, he scores in the very top percentages for goals, for assists, for shots, for key passes, which is just any pass that leads directly to a shot. Crosses, touches in the final third, touches in the penalty area. No defender in all of Europe this season has more ball carries into the box. And given the way a lot of tactical trends are going across football at the minute, that's a simply enormous feather to have in your cap. Like 1.5 times per game, every single game, he physically runs the ball into the box. You would pay 30 million quid, I think, right now, for that statistic alone. But, and this is where it gets interesting, if you take the exact same numbers, right? And instead of comparing them to defenders per 90 minutes, you compare them to attackers.
The public address and fire alarm systems are about to be tested.
Stop. And instead of comparing them against defenders, you compare them against attackers, i.e. the players who are occupying the spaces he really wants to be in. They are less good. The attacking numbers he's posting aren't actually that impressive. They're just impressive in the context that he's playing as a right wing back, whereas most of the other people you classify here are doing it as a right forward. Even the mind-bending, head-scratching, just pay the bloody money 1.5 carries into the box per 90 is, if you're a right-sided forward, just kinda average. Like, 1.5 times per game, you're dribbling into the box, yeah? Well, good for you. That's your job. But the really important thing here, in my opinion, is that these just like numbers. If you ever sit and watch Jeremie Frimpong, it's almost impossible not to get slightly excited by the way he plays football. He takes risks, he drives at defenders to push the opposition back, he drives in behind them to offer like a really serious goal threat. He arrives with excellent timing extremely often in this sort of like right-hand strip of the box, where he can either finish off moves created by others or just shoot really effectively across the goal. He's a really, really distinctive player. And when you watch him, like, you always seem to know what it is he's going to do, and the defenders do as well, but it still happens regardless because he's really good at doing it. And I'd say these numbers have such an unfavorable comparison to actual attackers, Not because of any lack of ability, because of the issues inherent with being a right wing back rather than being a right forward. Like, even with all the running in the world, he physically can't be in two positions at once. So his contributions become more about the quality rather than the quantity, I think. Like Leverkusen, when they want to be, can be a very direct team. So it's perfectly plausible that sometimes attacks just get from back to front before he's physically able to join in because he's starting deeper. If he was playing as a right-hand forward, that wouldn't happen as often. So you kind of got to keep that in mind. And don't get me wrong, you can make the exact same argument the other way if you want to, but I would say that these numbers are probably more reflective of his contribution than these numbers. You just have to keep your pants on a little bit because of context. And also it's the law, apparently. But now, right, so the flip side of this comparison of numbers is that you would expect the defensive attributes to be the exact opposite way around, wouldn't you? That's what I thought they'd be. But yeah, so compared to defenders, obviously those are absolutely... I think they're what my numbers might be if for some reason you put me in the Bundesliga for a season. I think I would probably defend about as well as this. What's important to understand here, again, is the way that Leverkusen are set up, because they're not one of these teams that starts with a back four and moves into a back three, effectively making one of these two proper defenders, just not when they've got the ball. They start with a back three. They are already set up in a way that allows both Grimaldo and Frimpong to focus forward up the pitch. It's not really their responsibility to defend. They've been relieved of that. But then, when you go and compare those exact same numbers to attackers, which is where you think they'd start to look really good, they're just really average as well. Just nothing statistically jumps out at you here to say he's a particularly solid defender. And again, when watching him, you wouldn't say that's an unfair assessment. Because of his pace, he's really strong 1v1. His technique for winning the ball back's actually surprisingly excellent. He uses his speed and his reading of the game to intercept well, but the enthusiasm, which obviously comes as a product of his athleticism, because if you can run really fast, you might as well, does lead to him on occasion, how can I put this, getting absolutely done. It's probably the main thing Slot's going to have to work on with him, because he can get drawn wildly out of position, then beaten, and thus leave his team in a bit of a hole. And Premier League teams, if they think you'll do that, they'll target that. They'll target that hard. But if you just look at it purely as numbers, the low tackle volume, the lack of interceptions, blocks, and what have you, again, not unlike his attacking contributions, you kind of have to see them as high quality more than high quantity. There's not going to be many situations in a game where he's forced to do this stuff, so he can score quite low. But when he does do it, by and large, does it well. But I would say, and this is really important, right? Whatever statistic you want to look at for Frimpong, whether it's good or bad, and you want to use it to praise him or criticize him, I would say all of those feel like a really true reflection, less of him and more of how Bayern play. When they do have to defend deep and they drop into a 4-4-2, the defense shuffles along, Grimaldo goes to left back, and Frimpong stays on the right wing. So it's not even necessarily his job to be a defender when they go super defensive. So, and yeah, admittedly, it took me a while to get to this point. If you're going to compare him to another right back, like let's say Trent Alexander-Arnold, which you can do here, I'll put the numbers up beside each other, you can draw whatever conclusions from looking at this screen you like, but I will tell you right now, there's no point in doing that, because as a right back, he never, ever actually plays as a right back. It's a twist. I do not think Frimpong's actually being bought to replace Trent Alexander-Arnold. I honestly think Liverpool see Connor Bradley as the long-term replacement down that side, because he's absolutely amazing as a player, but he is young. Yes, there's still a lack of minutes, and he does have some injury concerns that he doesn't yet seem to be over. But putting both of those to one side, I think they still rate him highly enough that you don't go out and get a marquee player, even at this incredibly good price, to actually deny him a path to the first team. So why have they bought him then, Adam? Are you saying it's some sort of a clerical error? Well, no, I don't think he's going to walk straight into the first 11, but then you don't have a season with just a first 11. Do you need a rich, diverse set of skills, different kind of players who can help you evolve across a campaign in different competitions, or even just in a match? And Frimpong, let's look at him again, who can play here, and play here, is perfect for doing that. Conor Bradley's unlikely to play the full season because of aforementioned injuries. Well, then great. He's going to get a run at right back and probably be really exciting to watch while he's doing it. Mo Salah, even if he can keep up the superhuman levels of fitness he's been displaying this season, is going to go to AFCON for possibly up to a month. And oh, well, okay, now you've got someone who can make those same direct runs in the box from that side. He's not going to be Salah, but he's going to be close. The guy gives you incredible offensive options the entire way down this flank of the pitch. And for 30 million quid, that's a no-brainer to pick up if you're losing a starter in this position. And even for the games where you're not going to start him, he's a more attacking option here than Conor Bradley, so that's a good change you can make. And he's a more defensive option here than Mo Salah. So Whisper It could just change that in a game as well. And I'm going absolutely off the rails now, but let's say maybe just for a laugh, you want to play 3 at the back so you can have 2 nice narrow 10s to keep, oh, I don't know, one of the best players in the world in this channel for as much as possible while still having someone go on the overlap. Well, now you've got a right wing back in your squad who let you do that perfectly, provided you go and buy someone on the left, which they may or may not be doing. It would even allow you to move another very good but getting on in years and has just signed a new contract player into an area where he could concentrate his effectiveness and not have to do as much running around. Make you think. But anyway, yes, I don't know why I was doing that voice. I think Liverpool are buying Frimpong because he adds absolutely loads to this squad without necessarily adding something revolutionary to their starting 11. I think you will start loads of games, but I don't think that's necessarily why you go and buy him. But Liverpool fans, how are you doing? What a nice season that was. Excited for the summer? Let us know in the comments below. And of course, please don't forget to like the video and send it to all your pals and then subscribe to us here at ACFC because 100,000 subs has a smell to it, you know. I've been there before. It has got a smell and it's around now. You get me across all the social medias at Adam Clery, Clery. I forget what side that's appearing on, but it'll be there somewhere. It looks really cool. So yeah, this is a good buy, which is slightly different to what the previous owner of this position did. That was a bad buy, a sad buy. Goodbye.